Are you looking for a rural town to buy some real estate? Want to get a mortgage and live the American dream in Wyoming? Today, we're looking at great rural towns in the Cowboy State. Wyoming is a western state that prides itself on its Old West frontier history. The land and the people still carry a lot of that Old West spirit. It's a very unique place to live, and the people are amazing. Wyoming has been a move to hotspot for years as other western states have cooled down, like Colorado, Montana, and Oregon. Wyoming is picking up steam. Real estate in most of Wyoming is reasonable, crime isn't a major issue for 99% of the state, and it's beautiful. What's not to love? Like I said in other videos, I normally do top 10 lists, but not all states have 10 good rural towns, and I don't want to waste your time with a bunch of towns that are a bit of a reach just to get to number 10. Wyoming's issues in their small towns are access to healthcare and quality internet. They don't have the best coverage when it comes to normal internet providers, but Starlink, the one by SpaceX, gets really good reviews in Wyoming. Most of the flatlands of Wyoming can get like 200 megabits per second. I've watched several reviews on Starlink in Wyoming and read a couple of different articles. It seems to be doing pretty well there. However, healthcare and internet somewhat do knock a lot of really good small towns off this list. And if you're about to comment, stop typing. Most people do need internet. We know you like the outdoors and you like reading books. Congratulations, you're better than all of us. We should strive to be more like you. Hey there, where are you from? I want to know which city you're watching our video from. Please leave a comment so we don't feel lonely. A small action like this will motivate us to make more videos. Thank you, and much love to you. The focus of this series is rural towns, which normally implies a good distance outside any major metro areas. Wyoming really doesn't have any major metro areas. With the towns in this video, we're looking for that sweet spot, a decent place to live that isn't too close to any major cities, has a low crime rate, and isn't 5 hours away from a hospital or so far out in the sticks that you get horrible internet. Number 6, Dubois, Wyoming. Dubois, Wyoming is in western Wyoming, not too far from Yellowstone and the Grand Tetons. It is also really close to complete peace and quiet. Honestly, this place is out there. It's like the perfect place to live if you're dodging subpoenas or something like that. It is called Dubois, and if you're looking at it and thinking, no, that's Dubois, it's Dubois here. It might be Dubois everywhere else in the world, but it's Dubois here. Dubois sits about 3 hours west of Casper, Wyoming, and about an hour and a half east of Jackson, Wyoming. Butch Cassidy, actually Robert Leroy Parker, an Old West guy, owned and managed a ranch on the outskirts of Dubois, beginning somewhere around 1890. This is a great place to go fishing. They've got a lot of creeks, and the river goes right by town. This is a great place to live for the outdoor types that want some peace and quiet. All right! If you're new to this channel, Eagle Explorer warmly welcomes you. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button and remember to turn on the notification bell to catch our upcoming content. You won't get peace and quiet on the west side of town, though. There's a gun range there right by the river. Every place else seems pretty solid when it comes to peace and quiet. They only have 800 residents living in Dubois, and they get a thumbs up when it comes to the crime rate. Their crime rate is actually 17% lower than the national average, which is kind of high for most of Wyoming, but it's a great place to live, so they go on the list. When it comes to healthcare, they get a faded thumbs up. In town, they only have a place called the Dubois Medical Clinic. It's a small clinic with some doctors and stuff, and I'm sure they do great work. It's just not a full-blown hospital. If you need specialists or stuff like that, or an emergency room for that matter, for that kind of action, you've got to head all the way out to Jackson, which is about an hour and a half away. That's why they get the faded thumbs up. In most states, being an hour and a half away from a full-blown hospital is a really bad thing. In Wyoming, that's kind of par for the course. When it comes to the internet, they're getting a thumbs up because they have Range Telephone Cooperative that offers 1 gig for 84% of the town, so that's solid. And like I said at the beginning, Starlink seems to be a really good option for Wyoming. As far as property goes, I'm going to give them a faded thumbs up. There are a couple of reasons for that. Things aren't available all the time, and when they are, they're a little expensive. But there's a caveat to that. Almost anything you buy in Wyoming is going to come with at least an acre. Unless you're in downtown Casper or Cheyenne, most any piece of property you buy, any real estate, will come with some acreage. So it's going to be a little expensive. Right now, they have a couple of places on the outskirts of town. One is going for $700,000 and comes with about 5 acres, and one's going for $550,000 and comes with 2.5 acres. Both of those pieces of property are right on the river too, so it's expensive, but it's worth it. Number 5, Lovell, Wyoming. Lovell is the largest town in Bighorn County, Wyoming, which is in the northern section of the Cowboy State, not too far from Bighorn Lake and the Montana border. This is another great place if you like fishing, the outdoors, hiking, or mountain biking. It's not too terribly far from the Bighorn National Forest and Bighorn Canyon National Recreation Center. This is a great place to live if you want to be outdoors, breathe fresh air, and have a nice river not too far from town. It only has a population of about 2,300 residents. Now, they get a big thumbs up here for their crime rate. It's actually 58% lower than the national average, which is outstanding. When it comes to the internet, they get a faded thumbs up. In Lovell, they have a company called TCT, which offers 75 megabits per second DSL, covering about 98.9% of the town. So that's good, it's just not the fastest internet you're going to get. Again, Starlink might be a great option here. Lovell gets a thumbs up for their healthcare. They do have a hospital in town, North Bighorn Hospital, with a clinic and a couple of other things. For anything major, you're probably going to have to head out to Billings, Montana, which is about an hour and a half north of Lovell. Lovell gets a big thumbs up when it comes to real estate. Right now, they have 2 places in town, one going for $258,000 and the other one for $150,000. They're both livable, probably not going to need a bunch of work, just a little bit older but nice looking. Looking back over the last few months, it seems like everything that sells in town usually goes for around $300,000 or less. That's solid. Get outside of town a little bit, and it starts getting a little more expensive, and you get some acreage. So like I said, they get a big thumbs up for real estate. All in all, Lovell is not a bad place to live. Number 4, Sundance, Wyoming. It already sounds like a cool place to live, Sundance, Wyoming. This town sits near the North Dakota border and the Black Hills National Forest. Now, before we go on, how many of you were typing out the message to tell me it's near South Dakota, not North Dakota? Be honest. Who was leaving the comment? There's a lot of people. Once they see a mistake, they just put the whole video on pause while they angrily type out some kind of message. Anyway, it's near South Dakota, in the Black Hills, and about 30 minutes southeast of Devil's Tower, Wyoming. This town isn't named after a person. It's actually named after the Sundance ceremony practiced by several American Indian tribes, or Native American tribes, or indigenous people, whatever you want to call it. Sundance has a population of about 1,000 residents, a little bit over 1,032, and they get a big thumbs up for their crime rate. It's 71% lower than the national average, which is outstanding. That's what I love about Wyoming. There is not much crime. A lot of people might say it's because everyone's packing. Maybe. It also has a lot to do with the fact that the people are just decent. These decent people get a thumbs up for their internet too. 72% of the town is covered by Range Telephone Cooperative, and they offer 1 gig. When it comes to healthcare, they get a big thumbs up too. They have everything: an emergency room at Crook County Hospital, Crook County Hospital Nursing Home, Crook County Hospital Long-Term Care, and North Wyoming Mental Health. They also have a high school, which always comes with a nurse. Funny story. I've been out of high school for like 30-something years, but there was an accident right in front of our high school one time, and the high school nurse ran out there and basically saved a dude's life. I was like, that's good. This is another great town to live in if you love the outdoors. Hiking, fishing, camping, mountain biking, and snowmobiling in the winter are big in this part of the country too. It's kind of hard to do it during the summer. When it comes to real estate, they get a big thumbs up because they've got something for everyone. Right now, they've got a house for sale outside of town for $149,000 that really needs some work. Your starting money, what you're going to need to buy a house or what you're looking at spending, is going to be about $300,000. Currently, they have a couple of homes for $328,000 and $305,000. But they go up, and you start getting acreage. Normally, I would say something with a couple of acres is going to run you somewhere around $600,000 to $700,000. They have places in town that look really nice. In the last 6 months or so, They've sold like 7 other homes that are around $300,000 to $400,000, so something for every price range here. Number 3, Saratoga, Wyoming. This is a great one, especially if you like the outdoors and you like golf. Great place for that. They have a golf course and plenty to do outdoors. The North Platte River runs right through town and the golf course. They've even got hot springs. Now, I brought this up in a recent video. If you're getting up there in age, you've got some arthritis. There's a lot of people in that situation who swear by hot springs. They have the Saratoga Hobo Hot Springs on the south side of town, right near the North Platte River. Saratoga has a little over 1,800 residents, and they get a big thumbs up for their crime rate. It's actually 72% lower than the national average. Again, it's great people, and a lot of guns that really keep your crime rate down. That's just fact. They get a thumbs up for their health care. They have a couple of clinics in town, a dental office, a pharmacy, and things like that. But if you need a real full-blown hospital, it's only like 40 minutes away. You've got Memorial Hospital of Carbon County up there in Rawlins. So, like I said, they get a thumbs up. I think they need an urgent care. I couldn't find one. If I'm missing something, let me know. If you visit Saratoga, make sure in the morning you go to Sweet Marie's. Get some coffee, maybe some cupcakes, something like that. It's a nice place to start your morning. Now, I mentioned they have some hot springs in town. They have another place called Saratoga Hot Springs Resort, which is really cool. They've got like teepees over these pools. It's a pretty cool thing to have in town, especially if you've got arthritis or things like that. When it comes to real estate, they get a thumbs up here too, because this is a great place to live, and their real estate isn't terrible. It starts off around $260,000 in town and goes up. There's a couple for like $500,000 and one for $375,000. Outside of town, you start getting up there a little bit higher, in the $700 000S, and you get some acreage with it. So like I said, thumbs up for that. Number 2, Hanna, Wyoming. About 40 minutes north of Saratoga, Wyoming, you have Hanna, Wyoming. This is a town that starts getting out there in the sticks a little bit, and this one goes on here for those of you that are on a budget when you retire, or you're just on a budget in general and want to live in Wyoming. This is a great place to look at. Hanna, Wyoming, only has about 800 residents, and they get a big thumbs up for their crime rate. It's actually 92% lower than the national average, which is outstanding. There are no jobs out here, so don't move out here thinking you're going to be able to find a job. This is a great place for retirees or people that work from home. They've got decent internet, and they get a thumbs up for their internet. They get Union Wireless that gets them up to 1 gig. It's DSL and covers 95% of the town. After that, you've got Starlink. It is definitely doable in this part of Wyoming. Hanna is a great place for someone who wants to live out in the prairie, doesn't want to be around people, isn't looking for a nightlife, and isn't looking for friends that have all their tea, things like that. This is the type of place where big excitement is normally like if the train breaks down in town. Hanna gets a faded thumbs up for healthcare. They do have a family practice in town, which is nice. This is a very small town, and it's good that they have something like that here. Anything you need past what they can offer you, you're going to be going down to Rawlins, which is about 40 minutes to the west of Hanna. All right, before we get to number 1, don't forget we have another channel called On This Day. We'd love it if you went over there, watch some videos, and hit that like button on some of those videos. As a matter of fact, hit the like button on this video. It really helps the channel out. Number 1, Afton, Wyoming. Afton is a town in Lincoln County, Wyoming, that sits near the Idaho border, about an hour and a half south of Jackson, Wyoming. It has a population of almost 2,000 residents and is home to the world's largest arch made of elk antlers. Yes, if you're an elk antler enthusiast, this is your town. It's also good if you like fresh air because their air quality is outstanding. But this elk arch spans 75 feet across 4 lanes of US Highway 89. The arch consists of 3,011 elk antlers, weighing about 15 tons. Right now you're thinking, that is more information than I will ever need about elk antler arches. The good news is all your elk arch needs are now in place, and you can sleep better tonight. This is a great place to live for so many other reasons besides elk antlers. They get a big thumbs up for their crime rate. It's actually 94% lower than the national average. Their violent crime rate is 97% lower than the national average. Good job, Afton. They also get a thumbs up for their healthcare. They have Star Valley Health, which is open 24 hours a day, has an emergency room, and all that good stuff. For anything past what they can offer, you'll have to head up to Jackson, which, like I said, is almost an hour and a half away. When it comes to real estate, it's getting a faded thumbs up because it's pretty expensive here. Like I said, just that price comes with some property. So if you're looking for some property and you know you can spend at least $700,000, this is a great place to live. In town, they have a couple of places for $400,000, but most of the places are going to be $500,000 on up, and you're going to get some acreage with it. When it comes to the internet, they get a big thumbs up. They've got a company called Silver Star, which I don't know much about, but they say they cover 99.6% of the town and offer 1 gig of fiber, so it's going to be pretty good. Again, like I've been saying, Starlink is a serious consideration here in Wyoming. It seems like it's pretty decent from everything I've seen. All right, that's today's video. Wyoming is a great place to live. These small towns are amazing. I could have put a bunch of others on here, but the healthcare really knocked a lot of them off the list. They've got some places that have nothing for like an hour away, but they're great towns in almost every other respect.